Donnie and Dolly. The team is supported by ableauctions.ca. Closing your business? We can help.
It is Monday, and all of our guests today are sponsored by Passant Motors, BC's most trusted car dealership located in the heart of Surrey, with great financing rates, guaranteed approvals, and open 7 days a week. Learn more at BASANT Motors, PassantMotors.com. Joining us now from Hockey Night in Canada and the 32 Thoughts podcast, as always, every second Monday, Elliotte Friedman. How are you, sir? We got Elliotte? Is he pulling a fast one on us? Is that what's happening here? Have we got him, Ryan? Audio issue?
I'm just not hearing you.
Oh, okay.
There you are.
There you are. Can you hear us now?
Can you hear us?
Maybe we could run the Rick Tocchet clip on Dakota Joshua again. Okay. No, now we can't hear him. Now we got him?
I got it.
All right.
Okay,
All
good.
right.
Great.
I got you.
Just a reminder to folks, this is live television, just in case you weren't sure. Okay, Elliotte, Max Sasson.
Yeah.
You got me saying Sasson now.
Sasson.
Max Sasson signs with the Vancouver Canucks. He is yet another Dan Milstein client that is in the Canucks fold. He's got, I said 41 clients. I think I was wrong. It's 42 clients in
42.
the Canucks or organization.
And counting.
Is there a danger with one agent having multiple players in one NHL organization?
It happens periodically. I've seen that before. It depends. It depends on like how that power, it just depends on if the agent tries to wield it in terms of power, if the team acquiesces to that power. Like, I've seen lots of situations over the years, where, like, for example, Newport, because they had like 120 clients, they would end up with 5 or 6 clients on a team. Mm-hmm. And, it just depended on, could everybody recognize that each negotiation was a different negotiation, right? And, we've heard about situations in the past where a team and an agent will get mad, at each other, and the agent will say, "I'm never giving you any one of my clients again." Yeah. And sometimes that's just in the heat of the moment as opposed to whether or not it really happens. I don't know of any situations in hockey where there's a team that says, "We're never signing a client from that agency again." I've never heard of that. I think that I think this, as long as everybody understands that each negotiation is a separate negotiation, I don't think it's a problem. It's that when we get to situations, guys, where the agent or the team allows the agent to, have personnel calls or things
right.
like that, that's where you get the problem.
Elliotte, Canucks sign Max Sasson, undrafted college free agents, hot commodity right now, especially at this time of year. How do you answer people who say, well, this guy's 22, 23 years old. If he's such a hot commodity, why wasn't he drafted before this?
Well, I think that's a fair question. The way I look at it, Don, is that I think one of the reasons the NHL draft is the biggest crapshoot there is that we're drafting people at 18, 19 years old.
Yeah.
Think of all of us, the three of us, when we were that age, and what complete cement heads I'm sure the three of us were. I know I was. I know I was a complete cement head. I can only imagine what Dollawall was like to Patty. And Don, I can't imagine you were much different. And I think that's what happens. Some people mature later. Some people fill out or get better or discover a new work ethic. I look at this as it's a free player. I think, at the very least, you get someone who comes into your organization, you get a look at them, you determine what kind of player you've got. Is he going to be an NHL player? Is he going to be an AHL player to start? What do you have there? It gives you a free look at somebody to try them out. And that's kind of the way I look at it. Some people are just better at 22 than they were at 18, 19. And, I will say this. I know at the NCAA, also don't forget, you can't get drafted if you're 20, right? Over
Right.
20.
Right.
So you get to a point, certainly, you get to a point eventually where you can't get drafted anyway. And you'd rather just become a free agent because now you can pick your team instead of your team picking you. So that's kind of the way I look at it.
Elliotte, you and I were working on the Akito Rossi story yesterday. Any update? You still expect him to end up in Vancouver?
I do. I've been told it's the most likely scenario. I've been told he could be here this week, but I've always warned, Rick, until it's done, it's not done. But I think some of these teams are being very aggressive, chasing after players, and they kind of get an indication of where one player is going over someone else or somewhere else, and there seem to be a lot of people who think it will end up being here.
Okay. Rick Tocchet, 16-9-2 since he took over the Canucks. You've seen this before. You saw it last year with Boudreau. Anything different in your eyes? Is this team you think can roll into next year and be just as good under Tocchet?
Well, I think the one thing is that Demko's healthy. Let's not kid ourselves here. Demko coming back makes a huge difference. If you don't have goaltending in this league, you don't have anything. But the one thing I do believe is that I was talking to a couple players when I was in town this week, and one of the things that it's tough. Like nobody here wants to dump on Boudreau. Nobody wants to do anything like that. But it definitely is clear that there's just a better understanding of roles and who's expected to be here and who's expected to do what and who's expected to where you're supposed to be on the ice. I think the other thing too, guys, is, and I was talking to one player specifically about this, trade deadline's over. Yeah. All the craziness is done. Like, I'll tell you this, the player actually said to me after the trade deadline, Rick, I guess I was on your show with you and Don, and, you asked me about Miller, and I talked about it in the draft, and the guy said to me, can you give it a rest for just 2 months while we're trying to play here?
Yeah.
So I think the fact that all the craziness is gone for a little bit, everybody can just calm down and play. And, the one player said to me, and there were, one of the things I thought was important that day I was there, just to go show my face. And if anybody's got a problem with anything I said, they can tell me. And, I did have one player in particular just say to me, look, we thought it was really crazy this year. It's a guy who's been in Vancouver for a while. He said, it's not solely, he said, it's you and there are a couple other guys. It just seemed like it was never ending.
Yeah.
And I think now they can breathe a little bit and it's a lot different.
Yeah. By the way, Elliotte, thanks for dropping by last week. You're in Vancouver, and we
great job.
I know you tried, and we appreciate it.
DT, I came in from Dallas on Monday. I went back to Dallas on Wednesday, and Tuesday was all about the telethon, man. I hope you're not hurt. I wasn't ghosting you, just so you know.
And you did a great job. Sharks, they've fallen to 32nd overall, a dead last, so they have the best opportunity as we speak at Connor Bedard. How would you describe the state of that franchise?
Look, I think the Sharks knew that this year potentially could be like this, guys. I think I heard the deadline was hard on some of those veterans because you could really see the white flag going up. I think sometimes from outside we look at it and we say, we expect it, but I think sometimes for the players it's really hard to be in the middle of that. I think that was the case for those players. Look, this year is a year you go for it in the lottery. Yep. Connor Bedard is a franchise-altering player. I can't blame the Sharks for doing what they're doing. But the one thing I really believe, guys, is the Sharks don't want a long-term rebuild. I think the owner, when he was interviewing all the prospective GMs last summer, he said, we're not here for long-term rebuilds.
Ellie, before we let you go, you've talked about this 2 or 3 times now, but do we underestimate the effect trade deadline has on players?
No, I've had several players and their spouses tell me that before, and their family members tell me that before. I think it's nerve-wracking, and social media just amplifies everything, right? I'll tell you, I was on the Nasty Knuckles pod with Derek Settlemeyer and Riley Cote in Philadelphia, and they played a practical joke where they had Scott Lawton on the pod the week before me, and they told him while he was sitting there, we just got an Elliotte Friedman tweet that you got traded to Toronto, and you should have seen the look on Lawton's face.
Nasty. Yeah.
Like, it was nasty, but it was funny. And I told them, I bet you the reason that Lawton was probably so shaken up was because before he signed his extension in Philadelphia, I think the Leafs were trying to trade for him, and I think he knew that.
Okay.
So I think there was a certain level of that could be true. I do. Like, you know what, guys? I think it is like, I think players just want to try. They understand that there's something that comes with playing professional sports and playing in Canada and in Vancouver. But for the most part, I think they just want to. Well, they want to play. They want to be able to focus. And I think this year it was difficult for a lot of those guys to focus. So when I look at why the Canucks are going strong right now, I see Demko being healthy is number one. I think just the trade deadline is over is number two. These guys can focus. And number three, I think they really like Tocchet. I think they like the way he talks to them. I think they like the way he approaches them. I think they like the way that he kind of handles himself. Like everything he talks about, like in particular, like Kravtsov last week, everything he talks about is, how do we make players better? And I think players respond to that kind of talk.
All right, Elliotte, thanks for this. And just so you know, next time you're in Vancouver, we've got new Donnie and Dolly bucket hats. So you drop by next time.
Oh, that's awesome.
We'll give you two of them. All right? Just so you know.
One with your name on it.
I will gladly take it. And you know what? I will wear it when I'm on the show, so people don't complain how my hair looks.
Your hair looks great today.
Oh, it looks great.
I'm not somebody who's going to talk about anybody's hair.
Yeah,
you've got it, and good on you, Elliotte. Thanks for this. Talk to you in a couple of weeks.
All right, take care, guys.